All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 5. That is right, week number 5 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and what we are going to do this week is a quick state of the course update, and then we are going to do a quick introduction of the Gale Legal Forms database. Now, again, I am not actually giving you a tutorial on how to use the database. Rather, I am giving you a quick introduction to the database, okay? So I'm going to tell you basically what the Gale Legal Forms database does, a little bit of background. When you use it, I'm going to let you know it is primarily a public library database. You find it in public libraries a lot, not so much in academic libraries or in school libraries, but we're going to show you how to do it, how to use it, and we'll show you the basics of how you use it and what it does. And then after that, on your own time, if you want to look at some tutorials to really master the database, and if you want to get into the database and practice, then I will tell you how to go about that too. All right, but first let's get into that state of the course update. And we have basically 3 items that we have to do this time around, or that we have to discuss this time around for the state of the course update. Number 1, and the main thing is, yes, your virtual reference practice assignments are due this weekend. I repeat, your virtual reference practice assignments are due this weekend. They are due February the 18th. These are assignments that require you to work with a partner. So if you have not gotten up with your partner yet, you are running out of time. I am recording this on Tuesday night. The assignment is due on Sunday. Make sure that you get that interaction going. Make sure that you get up with your partner, get that interaction going. Make sure that you save transcripts or emails for written things. If you are for your Zoom portion of it, you don't have to upload your Zoom recording, just paraphrase that. But for email or for chat transcripts, make sure that you save those and include those in the document as in appendices. And aside from that, well, yeah, just turn the assignment in by 11:59 p.m. Central Time, and you should be good to go. There will be a little bit of a grace period, so long as it is in Canvas by the time I wake up on Monday the 19th, you will be fine. And Monday the 19th is President's Day, so that'll be a holiday, so you should maybe, depending on what you do, get a day's rest after that assignment. All right, pause. The second thing to be aware of is that we are going to have our second sync session next week. That is right. We are going to have our second sync session next week, February the 21st, which is next Wednesday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay, again, that is 7 to 8:30 p.m. Central Time. We will be talking with Lisa Kincaid at the Wolfner Library in Jefferson City, Missouri, and she is going to tell you all a little bit about services to the disabled or the differently abled, whichever terminology you prefer. I'm not going to try to get bogged down in the terminology so much as I am going to, you all know what we're talking about. I'm just going to tell you that that is a population that does need libraries, and they need access barriers removed for them. So Lisa is going to do a demonstration on how some of those access barriers are removed, and I think you all are going to enjoy her, particularly if you are somebody who is disabled, or you have disabled people in your family or friends, or you work with disabled patrons. You may get some ideas from Lisa on how to better serve those populations. So I'm really excited to have her next Wednesday. She comes to us every spring and fall semester, and she does a wonderful, wonderful job. So I'm looking forward to that. And the last thing that I want to mention with the state of the course updates is, again, I know I'm a little behind with going over the discussion boards and grading them, but I am getting those in. Your discussion prompt number 2 should be graded by the end of the week, and hopefully discussion prompt number 3 as well. So I am steadily working on that and hoping that you all are still in, well, hopefully enjoying, but if not enjoying, at least paying good attention to and being active on the discussion boards. You will need to do that for the next couple of weeks. And then after the next couple of weeks, it'll be a little while before you have a discussion board prompt that is due, and during that time, when you don't have discussion board prompts due, that's when you will be working on the semester-long project, and I will have that file updated within the next 2 weeks. So that is it for State of the Course updates. Now let's get in the Gale, and hopefully we will spend no more than 15 minutes on that for a 20-minute video, which I hope you will sped it up. Give me one moment, pause. All right, so again, with the Legal Forms database, one thing that I want to do is reiterate that we have people going into all different types of librarianship within this class. So there are going to be people going into academic libraries, public libraries, special libraries, K-12 libraries, the whole 9 yards. And so I do want to create kind of a blend. One thing that is an inherent flaw within the database unassignment that you all have already done, and I did get those grades recorded, and you all did a fabulous job with those. And again, if you haven't looked at your classmates' contributions, go ahead and do that when you get a chance. You have the entire semester to do it, but go ahead and do it when you get a chance. It's a great way to learn about the different databases. This is peer learning you all are doing when you do the unassignment. But having said that, yes, the unassignment, because I had to make sure that everybody had access to the databases in question, I had to make all of those academic library databases, or databases that I should say. They're not all specifically academic library databases. In fact, Academic Search Complete and JSTOR a lot of times are in public libraries, and Academic Search Complete / Premier is something that's actually available at pretty much any library you're going to go to. It's the Google of libraries, basically. Okay. But yeah, I don't want this class to be too academic library centric, because a lot of you are going into public libraries. And so this is one of the databases that is specifically, most of the time found in public libraries. Okay. And I am going to access it through my public library. And so if you want to learn more about this database and get some practice on it, what you need to do is reach out to your public library, your local public library, and see if they have this. Now, if you're not in Missouri, they might not have Missouri legal forms, but Gale does this for all 50 states. So if you're in Kansas, you may have a Kansas legal forms database, or if you're in, I think somebody's in Minnesota legal forms, and so forth and so on. Contact your local library and ask them if they have the Gale legal forms database. And if they say yes, ask them how to get to it, and then you can access it that way. And again, they should have it available for whatever state you are in. All right, but I am going to go ahead and access it for Missouri. And I am going to pause while all of this is happening. All right, so we are in this database, and really this database is also something that will probably come in handy for you if you are helping friends, because I have actually helped friends. This was happening a lot more when I was on Facebook, and I'm no longer on Facebook. But when I was on Facebook, I would help friends a lot of times by telling them about this database or retrieving forms from the database for them. Because I would have friends that would be like, hey, does anybody have like a sample wedding photographer contract, or a sample this or a sample that type of contract or agreement or something? And I would always be like, well, yes. The library has the legal forms database, and that can come in handy for what you are trying to do. And I would explain to them what was going on, and then they'd be like, oh, wow, yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, let's do this. And I would send the form to them or whatever. But this is a very easy database to use. Again, this is the Missouri edition, but when I was living in North Carolina, I used the North Carolina edition. When I was in South Carolina, I used the South Carolina edition, and so on. And so when you come to this homepage, and we're going to get rid of this Zotero stuff here. First of all, I don't think my library doesn't have all 50 states. Some libraries actually do subscribe to all 50 states and the all state subscriptions, but mine does not, and that is okay. But yes, so I come here, and first of all, you get your most popular searches over here. So these are the categories that you find the most, and these line up with my experience as a public librarian. So when I was working in the public library, a lot of times when people were coming for these types of documents, divorce was the big thing. People were trying to get divorced, and they were trying to avoid having to pay their trying to avoid paying an attorney but so much money in order to get a divorce, and so forth and so on. So they would do a lot of the grunt work on that pretty much at the library, find books about divorce, and then find the forms, read the books, check out the books, read the books, fill out the forms, and do their divorce with as little attorney payment as possible. But you'll also see wills and estates are big. Real estate was very big when I was doing this sort of thing. And landlord tenant was also very, very big. You also have some sample letters and some different things. And again, these are the most popular over here. But then you have all your main categories over here. So you'll see certain tax forms, workman's comp, such and such. So you'll see a lot of things here, okay? But what we are going to do is, automobiles is actually pretty big, and I'm actually kind of surprised that automobiles isn't in one of the big ones over here. But that is something that will, that actually is a good lead in to me showing you an introduction here. So if instead of, there is a search as well, and we're going to come back to do the search. But before we do the search, let's go ahead and just click one of the categories that's available, one of these main categories. We'll do automobiles in this case so you can see exactly what's going on here. Okay. So first of all, once you actually click a main category, then you will be brought to all of these different subcategories. So you'll see like a bill of sale, complaints, landlord tenant. I didn't realize that would be in there, but parking, also power of attorney, promissory notes, so forth and so on. Documents for related to lemon laws and that sort of thing. And so if you went into one of these, and we'll go into bill of sale at this point, here's one thing that you do want to keep in mind is that there are some forms that are specific to a state and some forms that are not. So if you see, again, I'm in Missouri, so the letters from Missouri are MO. If you see MO, then this is a Missouri specific form. But if you see US, then it is basically the type of contract that can be kind of tailored to whatever state you're in, okay? So that's useful to know, and you'll see most of these are US whatever. So bill of sale for automobile or car with disclaimer of warranties, that sort of thing. But you might want to have a bill of sale for automobile and odometer for odometer statement for as is sale. So let's say that you were selling a car or buying a car and needed this type of bill of sale form, and you needed it specifically for your state, and in this case we're going to have Missouri. Also Spanish, we do have these in English and Spanish for most of these, but as you can see, not all of them. But for most of the forms, at least on the Missouri side, you'll see English and Spanish versions. But let's say we wanted this form right here, this bill of sale of automobile and odometer statement for as is sale. Click that. And so before you even have to download the form, which you'll see first, you'll default into a description tab here, and you'll get a brief description. This form is a bill of sale of an automobile. The seller guaranteed that the automobile is his, her, their property and is free of all claims and offsets of any kind, yada, yada, yada. You can read the rest on your own. And if this looks like the description of what you need, then the next thing you can do is go to this preview button here and kind of preview the form before you download it. All right. So that's a preview of the form, and let's say you also took a look at this and you were like, oh yes, this is exactly what I need for my bill of sale for the state of Missouri. Now also it is helpful that you also have your definitions here. This comes in handy as well, especially when you are working without an attorney, okay? So you see all these things here, and if this, after looking at all these things, you say, yes, this is what I need, then I'm going to go with the English forms. But if you wanted Spanish, you see that they have the Spanish options there. But I'm going to go to English and just click it, and it's going to download. And then, come on, there you go. And then what I can do is you have the form here, and you have the, you can just fill in the blanks as needed. And once you actually sign this form, or once both parties or all relevant parties sign the form, then the form is legally binding. This will be a legally binding form once everybody has signed it. Now, there are some forms, I don't know if this is one of them, but there are some forms that have to be signed in front of a notary. It looks like this is one of them. So yes, some forms are legally binding without, in this database, are legally binding without the need of a warrant of a notary. But in this case, yes, you do need the notary. So, and what you can do, okay, this thing is actually acting kind of weird. Let's get us down here. But yeah, so you could, and what I wanted to do actually, and I'll have to look at what's going on with my Word. Also, you can print these out, of course, and also pin these things in. Oh, I can't fill out the notary information. That's what it is, because a notary can't do things online, at least not to my knowledge. You have to be in front of them. So that's why you can't do the notary stuff there. Makes sense. But yes, let's say I was in Missouri, county of Jackson, and I was selling a car for $1,000. As you can see, all of this information is just filling right on in. Make, let's say I have a Honda and then a model, Prelude, so forth and so on. But I can, 2002, how about that? See, but all it takes is just filling in these blanks, and then you will have a legally binding form. And it's just that simple. You can click the X's there if you have this sort of thing going on here, and so forth and so on. Very, 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 very easy database to use once you get the hang of it. It's not so much, with this database, it's not so much learning how to use it, it's just learning what's in there. And there is a lot of helpful stuff in there for every single state, okay? The last thing we are going to look at very quickly here is that you also have a search function. And I've used this even for myself, for like when I'm having somebody like DJ an event or something like that for me, then I will come to this database and generate an agreement based on, just based on what's going on here. I will generate a database. I will generate forms to be signed just based on like if I needed to have a DJ render services for an event that I was having or an event that my fraternity was having, then this would be where we would come to get the form. But let's do the easiest thing to do so that I don't take up too much time here is wedding photography. So let's say that you don't know which of these broad categories, well, let me go home so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So let's say you don't know which, it would be marriage, I think, but let's say you didn't know which of these broad categories you needed in order to find a wedding photography agreement. What you can do is just do the standard search, wedding photography. Search. Now, these are not going to be state specific. The wedding photography agreements are pretty much going to be the same from state to state to state. And as you can see, this will tell you how to find it: marriage, weddings, or contract weddings. So this is the same form. It's just, it exists in two places. Okay, and so again, you can get here and get a little description and a little preview, and if it's what you need, then you can come back up here. Most of you are probably going to use the English form, but I don't want to assume. There probably are some of you who are bilingual, or well, everybody here speaks English because that's a requirement for getting into the program. But if you're bilingual, or if Spanish was your first language or anything like that, then you'll have access to the Spanish forms as well. But yes, you can go in here and again, just fill in the blanks. And you can also adapt this language here if you need to, the language that isn't part of the blanks. But typically, you don't find many people doing that. They just, because that language that's in there is the language that's standard for protecting everybody. And so you just, agreement made on date between name of photographer, Bob Jones, and of me, the name of client, Jason Austin, and so forth and so on. And you just fill it out. And everybody signs it, and then once it is signed, it is legally binding. So that is it. And even though I would love to ramble, because y'all know how much I do like to ramble, I am going to go ahead and cut it off here so that we can stay under 20 minutes. And again, I hope to sped this up. I am Dr. Jace, and we do not want to deny our disabled patrons the ability to use our library services, because that would be a disgrace. And with that said, there will be no check-in video next week because we do not do check-in videos on weeks that we have a sync session. So I will see you all next Wednesday, February 21st, in a live session. And until then, take care and enjoy yourselves.